I stared at the invitation on my desk, its gold lettering catching the morning light. Join us in celebrating the wedding of Alexander James Harrison, my own brother's wedding, scheduled for the exact same weekend as my startup's crucial product launch. Ms. Harrison, my assistant Sophie appeared at my office door. The development team is ready for the final review. I nodded, tucking the invitation into my drawer. I'll be right there. What my family didn't know, what no one knew, was that my silly little startup had grown into Nexus Technologies, one of the most innovative software companies in Silicon Valley. We operated under a parent company, with my identity carefully hidden behind layers of corporate structure. To them, I was still just Emma, their daughter who'd wasted her Stanford MBA on a risky venture instead of joining my brother Alex's prestigious consulting firm. 6 months ago, when I told them about the scheduling conflict, their response had been predictable. Emma, don't be ridiculous, my mother had said over our weekly family dinner. It's your brother's wedding. Your little computer project can wait. It's not a project, Mom, I tried to explain. It's a major product launch. We've been working on this for 2 years. Alex had laughed, swirling his wine glass. Come on, sis. Who's going to notice if your app launches a week late? This is my wedding we're talking about. The whole family will be there, Dad added. Even Uncle George is flying in from London. You can't miss this for some startup thing. I looked around the table at their dismissive faces, remembering all the times they'd minimized my achievements while celebrating Alex's every minor promotion. The launch can't be moved, I said quietly. I'm sorry, but I won't be at the wedding. The explosion was immediate. Mom burst into tears, Dad slammed his hand on the table, and Alex stormed out of the room. That was the last time we'd spoken. What they didn't know was that my little computer project was about to revolutionize the entire consulting industry. Nexus had developed an AI-powered analytics platform that could process vast amounts of business data and generate insights that would make traditional consulting firms obsolete, including Harrison Consulting, where Alex was now a partner. The final test looked good, Sophie reported as we walked to the conference room. The platform is performing beyond expectations. I smiled, thinking about the irony. While my family was focused on Alex's perfect wedding, I was about to disrupt his entire industry. Any word from Harrison Consulting? I asked, though I already knew the answer. Sophie checked her tablet. They're still desperate to meet with a mystery client. Mr. Harrison personally called 3 times yesterday. By Mr. Harrison, she meant my brother Alex. His firm had been losing clients ever since we'd started quietly approaching them with our platform. He didn't know that his own sister was behind the technology, making his methods obsolete. Have they figured out the connection yet? No, Sophie grinned. They still think they're losing clients to different competitors. They haven't realized it's all us. The development team was waiting in the conference room, their excitement palpable. We were days away from launching something that would change everything. How's the integration testing? I asked our lead engineer. Perfect, he beamed. The AI is learning faster than we expected. It's already outperforming human analysts by 300%. I thought about Alex's proud boasts about his firm's unique analytical capabilities, about how he'd laughed when I first talked about using AI in consulting. This will never work, sis, he'd said patronizingly. Consulting is about human expertise. You can't replace that with computers. Now his firm was bleeding clients, and he had no idea his little sister was the cause. My phone buzzed. Another message from Mom. Emma, please reconsider. This is tearing the family apart. Whatever your little business thing is, it can't be more important than your brother's special day. I put the phone away without responding. The same mother who'd never attended a single one of my company presentations was now guilt-tripping me about missing a wedding. Miss Harrison. Sophie interrupted my thoughts. Harrison Consulting's CEO is on line 1. Again. Tell them I'm in meetings all day, I replied. But schedule them for next week, after the launch. After they'd already lost their biggest client to us, after Alex's perfect wedding. Back in my office, I pulled out the invitation again. The wedding would be at the Ritz-Carlton, a lavish affair for 500 guests. Alex and his fiancée had been featured in the society pages, the perfect power couple. Meanwhile, I'd been working 80-hour weeks, living on coffee and determination, building something that would revolutionize an entire industry. My phone buzzed again. This time it was Alex himself. Emma, this is childish. Mom's crying every day. Dad's furious. All because you won't reschedule your little project. What's wrong with you? I stared at his message, thinking about all the times they dismissed my work. All the family dinners where they talked over me when I tried to share my company's progress. All the subtle and not so subtle suggestions that I was wasting my potential. The platform is ready for the final demo, Sophie announced from the doorway. Would you like to see it? I stood up, straightening my jacket. Yes, it's time. The next few days passed in a blur of preparation. While my family was caught up in wedding details, I was orchestrating a technological revolution. Every few hours, someone would try to guilt-trip me about the wedding. Aunt Claire called to tell me I was breaking my mother's heart. Uncle George emailed about family obligations. Even Alex's fiancé sent a tearful voice message about ruining their perfect day. None of them bothered to ask about what I was working on. Friday afternoon, the day before both the wedding and our launch, Alex made one last attempt. Listen, Emma, his voicemail said, I know you're trying to prove some point here. But while you're playing with your little startup, I'm building a real career. I just made partner. The firm is growing. Well, we've had some setbacks recently, but look, just be there tomorrow. Show some family loyalty for once. I deleted the message and turned to Sophie. How many Harrison Consulting clients have signed up for our platform's early access? She checked her tablet. 15 so far, including their biggest account, Global Corp. They're scheduled to formally terminate their contract with Harrison next week. I nodded, thinking about the meeting request sitting in my inbox. Harrison Consulting was begging for a chance to meet with a mysterious client who was disrupting their industry. They wanted to discuss a potential partnership, unaware that we were actually orchestrating their downfall. Confirm the meeting for next Wednesday, I told Sophie. That gives them time to enjoy the wedding before their world turns upside down. She hesitated. Will you really reveal yourself as the owner? I smiled, remembering all the times Alex had patronized me about business. All the times my parents had dismissed my work as a silly startup. Oh yes, I said quietly. It's time they learned who they've been underestimating all these years. That night, as the city lights twinkled outside my office window, I made my final preparations. Tomorrow, while my family celebrated Alex's wedding, I would launch a technology that would transform his industry forever. Sometimes the best revenge isn't making a scene at a wedding. Sometimes it's quietly building something so magnificent that they can't ignore it anymore. I picked up my phone and typed a short message to Alex. Congratulations on your wedding. Sorry I can't be there. I have a previous commitment that will change everything. He wouldn't understand what I meant. Not yet. But soon, very soon, my silly little startup would make him understand exactly what he'd been mocking all these years. The day of Alex's wedding dawned bright and clear. While my family gathered at the Ritz-Carlton, I stood in Nexus Technologies' command center, watching our platform go live across the globe. Sydney office confirmed successful deployment, Sophie reported. London and Singapore are green. We're ready for New York. I nodded, thinking about the elaborate wedding ceremony starting in just a few hours. Right about now, my mother would be fussing over Alex's high, my father making proud speeches about his son's accomplishments. Launch the New York servers, I commanded. Screens lit up around the room as our AI platform went live on the East Coast. Within minutes, the first usage reports started flowing in. Ms. Harrison, our lead engineer, called out. Global Corp is already running their first analysis. The AI is processing their entire business portfolio. I smiled, knowing that Global Corp was Harrison Consulting's biggest client, or had been, until we showed them what our technology could do. My phone buzzed. A message from Mom. The ceremony is starting soon. There's still time to come. Please don't do this to your brother. I put the phone away and focused on the screens. Within hours, our platform would process more business data than all of Harrison Consulting's analysts could handle in a year. Tokyo office reports first insights generation, Sophie announced. The AI is already identifying patterns that traditional analysts missed. This was what Alex had dismissed as a little computer project, a technology that could analyze market trends, identify business opportunities, and generate strategic recommendations in minutes instead of months. By the time Alex said, I do, his entire business model would be obsolete. Around noon, just as the wedding reception would be starting, the first press releases hit the wire. Nexus Technologies launches revolutionary AI business platform. Traditional consulting firms face digital disruption. Global Corp announces switch to AI-powered analytics. My phone started buzzing nonstop, not with wedding photos, but with messages from Harrison Consulting executives desperately trying to reach the mysterious client who was reshaping their industry. Ms. Harrison, Sophie appeared at my side. Your brother just sent another meeting request. He sounds desperate. I checked the message. Alex had apparently stepped away from his own wedding reception to record it. This is Alexander Harrison of Harrison Consulting. We understand your platform has already acquired several of our key clients. We need to meet immediately to discuss potential collaboration. Please, our firm's future depends on it. The irony was almost too perfect. While he was celebrating his perfect day, his company was falling apart, and his only hope was the sister he'd dismiss as a failure. Schedule the meeting for Wednesday, I told Sophie. Let's give him time to enjoy his honeymoon before we turn his world upside down. The next few days were a whirlwind of success. Our platform was exceeding all expectations, processing data faster and generating insights more accurate than any human analyst could manage. Harrison Consulting's clients were jumping ship by the dozens. Each morning brought news of another major account switching to our platform. By Tuesday, Alex had cut his honeymoon short to deal with the crisis. He'd left increasingly frantic messages, begging for a meeting with Nexus Technologies' mysterious owner. Wednesday morning, I arrived at the office early. Today was the day they finally learned the truth. Your family is already here, Sophie reported. Your brother, your father, and 3 other Harrison executives. They're waiting in the main conference room. I stood at my office window, looking out at the city below. How does Alex look? Nervous. He's been pacing for 20 minutes. I checked my appearance one last time. No more casual startup attire. Today I wore a perfectly tailored designer suit that cost more than Alex's wedding cake. Any final words from the family? I asked. Sophie checked her tablet. Your mother sent a text an hour ago. I hope you're happy, Emma. Your selfishness about missing the wedding has created a crisis at your brother's firm. I laughed softly, still blaming me for everything, still not seeing the bigger picture. Let's not keep him waiting, I said. Through the glass walls of the conference room, I could see Alex pacing, his perfect suit already showing sweat stains. My father sat stiffly in his chair, looking older than I remembered. 3 other Harrison executives huddled over their phones, probably watching their stock price continue to fall. I took a deep breath and pushed open the door. The room fell silent. Alex froze mid-pace. My father's coffee cup stopped halfway to his mouth. Emma? Alex whispered. What? What are you doing here? I walked calmly to the head of the table. Hello, Alex. Congratulations on the wedding. I hear it was beautiful. You need to leave. My father started to stand. We're waiting for an important meeting with the owner of Nexus Technologies. I smiled. The mysterious client who's been acquiring all your accounts. The one whose AI platform is making traditional consulting obsolete. Alex's face drained of color. No, he whispered. No, it can't be. Why not? I asked quietly. Because I'm just your little sister with her silly startup. Because technology could never replace human expertise. Because anything I do couldn't possibly be as important as your wedding. My father had fallen back into his chair, his face ashen. This is impossible. You can't be. The founder and CEO of Nexus Technologies, the person who developed the AI platform that's revolutionizing the consulting industry. The client you've been desperately trying to meet. I pressed a button, and screens around the room lit up with our company data. I am. One of the Harrison executives let out a low whistle as he saw our numbers. Another started furiously typing on his phone, probably checking our company registration details. All this time, Alex's voice was hoarse. While we were planning the wedding. While we were calling you selfish for not coming. I was building something that would change everything. I finished for him. But none of you bothered to ask what I was working on. None of you cared. Emma, my father found his voice. Surely we can work something out. Family should help family. Family? I cut him off. Like how you helped me when I started this company. Like how you supported me when I said I had a vision for changing the industry. Alex slumped into a chair. Is this revenge? For the wedding? No, Alex. This is business. Your firm is losing clients because we offer something better. Something you could have been part of if you'd ever taken me seriously. I nodded to Sophie, who distributed folders to everyone at the table. Inside you'll find two options, I explained. Option 1. Harrison Consulting becomes a Nexus Technologies partner, but with significant restructuring. You'll need to retrain your entire staff to work with our platform. Your billing rates will be cut by 60% and you'll operate under our brand. 60%. One of the executives choked. Option 2, I continued, you continue as you are, and within 6 months, you won't have any clients left. Our AI can do in minutes what your analysts take weeks to accomplish, at a fraction of the cost. My father opened his folder with trembling hands. This would destroy everything we've built. No, I corrected him. This would save what's left of your company. You're not just losing clients to us. You're losing them because your entire business model is becoming obsolete. Alex was flipping through the papers, his face growing paler with each page. These numbers. The technology. How did your little sister with her silly startup manage this? I finished for him. The same way I've done everything, through hard work, vision, and determination. All while you were laughing at my computer project. One of the executives cleared his throat. Mr. Harrison, she's right. These capabilities, we can't compete with this. My father looked up from the documents, and for the first time in my life, I saw something new in his eyes. Respect tinged with fear. How long do we have to decide? He asked quietly. 24 hours, I replied. Though given that you've lost 3 more clients since this meeting began, I'd suggest deciding sooner. Alex stood up suddenly. Can we talk? Privately? I nodded to the others, who filed out quickly, leaving me alone with my brother and father. Why didn't you tell us? Alex asked. All this time. Would you have listened? I asked. When did any of you ever really listen to me? We could have worked together, my father said. Combined our expertise. No, I cut him off. You would have tried to control everything, just like always. This had to be mine. I had to build it my way. Alex ran his hands through his hair, his wedding ring catching the light. The wedding, you really couldn't come because of the launch. That launch changed the entire industry, Alex. While you were cutting cake, I was making history. He sat heavily in his chair. And now? What happens to us now? I walked to the window, looking out at the city where I built my empire while they weren't watching. That depends on you, I said finally. Are you ready to admit that your little sister might know what she's doing? Are you prepared to learn from me instead of dismissing me? They exchanged glances, these two proud men who had never taken me seriously until I threatened their entire business model. We don't have a choice, do we? My father asked. There's always a choice, I replied. But only one of them has a future. That evening, after they left with their tails between their legs to discuss options with their board, I sat in my office holding Mom's latest text. How could you do this to your brother? Haven't you hurt this family enough? I typed back a simple response. Check Nexus Technologies stock price, Mom. See what your daughter's silly startup is worth now. Within minutes, my phone rang. Her voice was shaking. Emma, these numbers. How? Remember when you said Alex's wedding was more important than my little project? That launch you thought could wait. It just made me one of the youngest female billionaires in tech history. Silence. Still think I should have been at the wedding. The next week, Harrison Consulting's board voted to accept our partnership offer. They really didn't have a choice. They'd lost 40% of their clients and their stock had dropped by half. Alex and my father had to swallow their pride and attend training sessions with their staff, learning to use the platform they'd once dismissed. Every time Alex had to introduce me as our CEO to his former clients, I saw him wince slightly. Mom started forwarding me articles about successful women in tech, as if trying to retroactively show support. I let her. Sometimes the best revenge is simply succeeding so spectacularly that they have to live with the knowledge of how wrong they were. 6 months later, at the company holiday party, Alex approached me with a glass of champagne. I've been meaning to ask, he said, trying to sound casual. That day you messaged me about having a previous commitment that would change everything, you knew, didn't you? You knew you were about to revolutionize my entire industry. I took the champagne, thinking about all the family dinners where they talked over me, all the times they dismissed my work. Yes, I said simply. I knew exactly what I was building. You just never bothered to ask. Sometimes the quietest person in the room is building something that will shake the world. Sometimes the sister who misses your wedding is actually changing history. And sometimes the silly little startup becomes the giant that reshapes an entire industry, even if your family doesn't see it coming.